coming to you fresh off the heels of the Commonwealth clash in which the Wahoos thoroughly beat the guys down I-81 with a 27-7 beatdown. And the score doesn't even say it all. Aside from a garbage touchdown late, the Wahoos, this one never was in doubt. Des Kitchings, the offensive coordinator, does a great job. 60,000 people in the stands think this is what we're running. But what did he do? He says, no, we're going to fake that. We're going to make you think that we're going to do that. Jamari's going to take a step or two down into the A-gap, and then he's running the old Tim Tebow jump pass from decades ago. The Wahoos were 27-7 victors over their rivals in state. All right, everybody, welcome into another edition of Hoos Makin Plays. I'm your host, former Virginia quarterback Matt Schaub. We're coming to you fresh off the heels of the Commonwealth clash in which the Wahoos thoroughly beat the guys down I-81 with a 27-7 beatdown. And the score doesn't even say it all. Aside from a garbage touchdown late, the Wahoos, this one never was in doubt after the opening kickoff. It was just a great team effort. I know Tony Elliott was excited about the fast start by both the defense and offense. So let's jump in to who was making plays for the Wahoos on Saturday night. Starting off with play number one, we'll go to the first series of the game. The Hokies were moving the ball a little bit with the run game. They got to midfield with facing a 3rd and 3 on the 46. And Roan set to pass in the shotgun. And he set his feet quick for a quick game, trying to get the ball out of his hands fast. Transfer in Fisher K-Mac on the defensive end, standing at 6'7", did a great job. Something you teach defensive linemen when they sense a quick throw from a quarterback, or a 3-step drop, as we like to call it. Stop your rush, get your hands up, because the ball's going to come out fast. And he did just that. He batted the ball straight into the arms of Maddox Marcellus, middle linebacker, number 11, did a great job of catching the deflection and securing that catch. Big play for the Wahoos to turn it over on the first possession of the game. That's starting fast if you're the defense. And let's just talk for a second about Maddox Marcellus and how he stepped in for arguably one of the best linebackers in the ACC, in Cam Robinson, who suffered an injury and is out for the rest of the season. But Marcellus stepped in a big way and was all over the field, sideline to sideline, got 6 tackles, half a sack, which was huge later in the ball game, and that 1 interception, as well as a tackle for loss. So big game by him. And that led to the Wahoos offense scoring on the first possession. They went right down, scored, go up 7-0. That's starting fast if you're Virginia, that's exactly what they were hoping to do. Now let's jump into our second play in our Who's Making Plays against the Virginia Tech Hokies. And we're going to fast forward now. We're going to go with 4.5 minutes left in the first half. Now, there's been a bunch of back and forth punts by both teams. Virginia's still just up 7-0 at this point, but they were in control of this game. Mostly on the defensive side. But we're going at 7-0, 4:33 left in the second quarter. It's the 11th play of the drive for the Wahoos. They're on the 1-yard line. And they got second down. And so what do? They line up in the Wildcat, which they do a lot of the times inside the 5-yard line. They put Jamari Taylor at quarterback, and they have Chandler Morris just offset. So it looks like he's kind of behind center, but he's more in the A-gap between the center and the guard. And he's enacting the snap. But Jamari Taylor's the one that's getting the initial snap from the center. And what do they typically do in this set? They usually just run downhill straight at you and right in the A-gap. And they're just going to run a dive play and just jam it in there. And Jamari Taylor's such a strong runner that he usually isn't ever stopped doing that. So what do? Well, Des Kitchings, the offensive coordinator, does a great job. 60,000 people in the stands think this is what we're running. Well, what did he do? He says, no, we're going to fake that. We're going to make you think that we're going to do that. Jamari's going to take a step or two down into the A-gap, and then he's running the old Tim Tebow jump pass from decades ago to Sage Ennis, tight end, who's wide open in the back of the end zone. Why is this play successful? Well, first of all, Jamari Taylor gets the snap, and he goes downhill what he normally does. Sage Ennis has to be, theatrical. He has to go and act like he's blocking the linebacker in the defensive end. He has to sell that to get them to step up, which they do. And then he's got to avoid them so they don't grab him. And he slips into the back of the end zone. Easy little shot put throw from Jamari Taylor. And we see he can do it all. He can not only run and catch, but he can throw as well. And as John Freeman in the broadcast mentioned in the radio booth, he had the best passer rating in Virginia history after being 1-for-1 with 1 touchdown and 1 yard. So big play by the Wahoos to go into halftime up 14-0 and really starting to separate from Virginia Tech. Now let's go to our last play, our third play for Who's Making Plays against the Virginia Tech Hokies. And this one, we're going to go to near the end of the third quarter. Virginia is now up 17-0. So they're pretty much in control of this football game. But let's separate. Let's put the nail in the coffin going into the fourth quarter. Let's end this thing now. Their offense hasn't done much at all day against our defense. So we're down. It's second and goal on the 8-yard line for Virginia Tech. So the Wahoos are going in. And what do? They come out and they put a bunch formation into the boundary. They're on the left hash. They put a bunch formation to the left. They have their wide receiver wide to the right. And what Virginia Tech likes to do down in the low red zone inside the 10-yard line, they play a lot of man-to-man coverage. So what that means is they have to shift most of their coverage into the boundary to cover the bunch formation, which leaves them vulnerable to the run on the right side of their defense. And what they do is they run the zone read. And we all know Chandler Morris has done a great job throwing the football, but his secret weapon this year has been running the football with his quickness and his athleticism, especially in the red zone. We saw that time and time again throughout this season. And they run a little zone read. And honestly, I think if you ask Chandler after he reviewed the film, the read says to hand it off in this situation. But what he does is a great job is he just gets out on the edge. He's able to outrun the defensive end who's trying to chase him. But then he does his best Maverick from Top Gun, the movie, on the safety, and he just slams on the brakes. This safety just flies right by him, and he cuts back, and it's a wide open, cavernous hole for him to just get to the end zone. Huge play for the Wahoos to go up 24-0 at this point, and really just puts an ending on this and an exclamation point on this Commonwealth clash to bring the Commonwealth Cup home to Charlottesville after a 4-year hiatus where it was down there in Blacksburg. So big time game for the Wahoos that set them up for the rest of the season. But there's your Hoos Making Plays for this episode against the Virginia Tech Hokies, where the Wahoos were 27-7 victors over their rivals in state. We'll talk to you next time. Please leave any comments or questions you'd like to have us address in the comments section. And thanks for watching.